Well, today we are talking about the uplifting power of art, the beauty of the spirit, and the hard rock band Korn.
That's right. Brenda Harrington has a book called The Art of the Spirit, and she takes us on this beautiful and encouraging journey through her paintings while meeting fun characters along the way. I'm so excited that you're here to tell us more about this book.
Well, it has 25 of my oil paintings in it, and each one of them has an uplifting story that goes along with it. And the title, The Art of the Spirit, actually has two meanings to it that help explain the book. It's the art that I was led to do by the Spirit, but it's also the art of learning how to walk in the Spirit.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because you say there's a destiny planned out for each and every one of us. Explain.
I believe God has a plan for every person, a destiny that you might not be able to see at the moment. And the way to find that destiny is to get to know Him through the Spirit.
I'll tell you, I have flipped through the book. I am so impressed. Beautiful, beautiful interpretations that you've done. How did you get interested in painting?
Well, I grew up loving art, and I painted as a child. I even studied commercial art in college. But when I was in college, all of the emphasis was on abstract art. At that time, that's what was popular. And I liked realism, but anything to do with realism was considered to be uncreative. So I came away from college feeling like I wasn't creative enough to be an artist. And so I went that way for most of my life. And when I got, for about 30 years, and my kids were grown, and I was trying to figure out what to do at that point. So I said a quick prayer at the end of a church service one day. I just said, God, what do you want me to do? And all of a sudden I saw a vision, and I could see easels with paintings on them, and I could even smell the oil paint. Wow. And I had never had a vision like that before. And I knew I was supposed to take painting classes at the factory in Franklin. And so I started doing that, and at the time I wasn't really wanting to do that because I'd kind of grown bitter toward art, but I did it anyhow. And so in 2010 is when I started the lessons, and I've grown to love art again since then.
So glad.
You know, you said you got the vision one day, but before that, it sounds like you were a little bit lost in trying to find your way. What would you say to those people out there who kind of had the same narrative in their own minds? I'm not good enough, I'm not creative enough to follow their dreams.
Well, I just believe that if you're born with something you enjoy doing, that could be your destiny that you are supposed to go toward. And I really just believe it takes, for me, it just takes knowing the Lord and praying and following Him. But that's how I would guide people if I were advising them, because I believe that everyone does have a destiny and a purpose.
So you got a little God wink, and now people need to pay attention to their God winks.
Right, yeah.
So tell me, I mean, I flipped through the book, so enjoyed it, and you've got a beautiful one of her paintings. Yeah. How do you have a favorite? How do you decide which one is your favorite? Right. Do you just kind of take turns with them? I mean, they're all just so beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I don't really have a favorite, but the one that was the most exciting for me was probably the one I did of Brian Welch of Korn. Not just because he's a famous rock star, which that was pretty cool, but because when I knew I was supposed to do these paintings, I didn't know what I was supposed to do with them when I was finished. So I had gone down front to be prayed for at a church service, and the woman that I spoke with said she was given a revelation, and she said, don't worry about it. It's going to be you can't judge a book by its cover sort of situation. And so I went for years not knowing what that was going to mean. And then in the meantime, I had friends who were friends with Brian, and I had the idea of painting him with a halo over his head. And then I was driving down the road one day, and it came to me, that's it. That's the you can't judge a book by its cover, because Brian is such a nice, humble man of God. And
here it is. There he is.
But he doesn't necessarily look the way people think Christians look. So I knew at that moment that he had something to do with they can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah. And after I met him, though, I knew why, because he's just one of the nicest people I've ever met. And I was able to put his story in the book of being back on the road with corn, and he's seen some amazing things since he's been back.
I bet.
Incredible. I bet. Well, art is so healing, and your work really and truly brings tears to my eyes, and I get chills. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing this with the world. Check out her book and follow her journey online. Visit BrendaHarrington.com.